Well, hello, folks. This is Mr. DeRoy Cruz, your friendly neighborhood pest, I guess. I wanted to do my review. It'll be real quick because I'm not going to, have you watch me draw. My drawing is boring. I'm not going to have you watch me draw. I'm not going to have you take my opinion for it. I'm just going to show you some things that is going on with me as far as my two new mediums. And I showed you before about the Inktense pencils. The Inktense pencils. Let me see if I can get a Derwent Inktense colored pencils. These are paints. These are ink. And when you put them on, when you add water to them, they look like ink. And when they dry, they have like a some of the colors are shiny actually when they dry, like ink. And some of the colors are more like a thicker version of watercolor, like improved watercolor or something like that. But nevertheless, let me turn this fan off. I can burn up for about 10 minutes. These are very, very good. I love these. I'll tell you what, I did not get into painting until I got into these. I bought a set of these. I started off with the 36 and then I had to get the 72. Okay? These are made in England. All the good stuff is made outside of the United States. Tell you that right now. I found that out just this year, okay? When it comes to art supplies, they're made mainly in the UK, okay? Especially quality art supplies. Derwent, I think, is German, but it says England on here. These Derwent Inktense pencils are just awesome. I love them. But I love, like I said, I just got into painting. Like all my life, I knew about watercolor. I grew up on watercolor, but never really cared about watercolor. And I knew for a while about the watercolor pencils. But I've never really, this is the second set I bought. I have a set in the closet in the kitchen, and that's where they stay. I don't use them. As soon as I got them and started using them, I'm a pastel person. I love pastels. Okay? So, and I love color pencils. So when I found out about these, I had to try them out to see if they were different than watercolor. And let me tell you what, they are different than watercolor. Big time different than watercolor. There's a big, gigantic difference between watercolor pencils and Inktense pencils. There's also a big difference between watercolor pencils or crayon or blocks or whatever, and these here. These Caran Dash Neocolor 2. These are water-soluble wax pastels, if you can see that. Water-soluble wax pastels. Oh my God, I'm in love. I mean, all the time that I've been in the oil pastels, and that's what I'm into. I'm not really into the chalk pastels as much as I am into the oil. And all this time I've been into oil pastels, I never ever thought the day would come when they would be able to be water soluble, where you could smooth them around smooth the pigment around with a brush instead of with your hands. Now, I was just coloring a little bit ago. Look at my hands. My hands are clean. Okay? Now, there's a little bit of paint on my hands right there. That's from just now doing this video because I was moving around the different purples in the box. But these bad boys right here, I love my Inktense pencils, but I think Inktense has gotten competition. I mean, what could be greater if you love pastels than water-soluble pastels that you can spread and mix and layer with a brush instead of with your hand. You ain't got to worry about smudging or any of that stuff. You ain't got to worry about the mess. Also, when it dries like acrylic paint or something like that. You know, I mean, the surface here, you can feel the paint. You can feel the surface. But look, if you look at this and do the same type of thing like I did here in watercolor, you will be able to tell the difference big time. Now, the difference between the Inktense, however, and these Neocolor 2 by Caran d'Ache water solubles, the big difference between Inktense and Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s is not that big of a difference. I think that you can do more layering. I think the colors are more vibrant. And I think that you can do more with the Neocolors than you can with the Inktense pencils. Now, as far as permanent, because that's what everybody, including myself, that's what we all love about the Inktense pencils, is the ink. We love the idea that we can use these instead of ink and have less mess. These are a substitute. The Inktense pencils are a substitute for ink. Instead of you spending a fortune buying all that ink, why not just get these Derwent Inktense pencils and compare them to ink, and you'll see. You'll probably like the pencils better than the actual ink. And these are really good when they dry. Like if you do something like a comic strip with these type of pencils, you can tell and you can see the ink. Now, when you draw landscapes and all like that, you may say, it's just like watercolor. And now if you look closely at the pigment, you can tell a big difference there in my opinion. But these Inktense pencils, when you do stuff like comics with them, which I watch all these videos on YouTube, and I've yet to see somebody do like a comic strip with these Inktense pencils. Now, I drew some characters with mine. I drew some, some action figures and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, if you're getting into comics, if you're getting into comics, you got to give the Inktense pencils a chance. Now, I know everybody's does pen and ink when it comes to comics because they figure that's quicker. And then not only that, they do it online. They do it with software. But I really believe that just like I seen somebody do a comic novel in watercolor, I think better yet, if you can do a really good comic novel in these Inktense pencils. And I've yet to see somebody do it. I'm probably going to be the one to do it. But yet again, right here, bang. I'm having a hard time deciding which ones because I love oil pastels. And I was almost disappointed when I went to Blick Art Supplies and got these. I specifically told the guy because I really wanted the Aqua Sticks by Cretacolor. I really wanted those, but um, when I got home and realized that these are actually wax pastels and not oil pastels, I was like, oh man, here we go again. You know, because one time I went to the store and I asked for Inktense pencils. They gave me watercolor pencils, and I got all the way home and had to take them back. You know, and it's my dumb behind for not paying attention. I was so excited about my pencils, I didn't even really pay attention. I just wanted to hurry up, put my money on the table, and run out of there bragging about how many Inktense pencils I had. You know, but I'm telling you, these are awesome. I think Derwent Inktense pencils got competition with these Neocolors. Matter of fact, if you go all through YouTube, you'll see people doing comparisons every day almost between Neocolor and Inktense. But I love them both. I mean, the Inktense have like, when it comes to like your dark colors and all like that, it is truly ink. I mean, it is like, you know what I mean? Like if you use any color, like the blues, um, you know, and stuff like that, um, you'll notice that it's really dark. It's really rich in color when it comes to the dark colors. And I got 72 Inktense pencils. Okay. And I got 40 Neocolors. And almost, I would say just about every color that Inktense has, Caran Dash Neocolors will have more. Now here's two colors right here that are very similar together. I tested them. Okay, here's the Caran Dash. This here is called, let me see if I can find the name. Where's the bloody name? This is Lilac. It's a type of purple. Okay? It's a type of purple. But this here is the same, basically the same exact color, and it's called here, it's called Thistle. Yeah, it's called Thistle right there. It's called Thistle. Trying to get it where the light ain't. It's called Thistle. Okay. So without further ado, let me show you the demonstrations that I have. I'll start off with the one picture I have that I was goofing off with today. I'll start off with this one. Now, this one here, look real close. This is me mixing Inktense colors. Now here, these are watercolors over here. You can basically compare them to the Inktense. Look how beautiful that color is. Look how vibrant that is. Okay, and I love doing stuff like, you know, like I said, I like to do landscapes and stuff with, look at that. Look at that. Wow. Look at that. Okay. Alright, I love to do landscapes and stuff like that with the Inktense color pencils. But even more so, I like to do more illustration. You can see the difference between watercolor. Watercolor goes down kind of natural, where the Inktense comes alive as soon as you put it on paper. It starts to come alive. Okay. Let me see what else I have here that I did with Inktense. Here's one. I did this a couple days ago. Okay, and I'll show you the same thing with the Neocolors. This is Inktense. You see how beautiful and vibrant that color is. I think, however, when it comes to mixing, I think the Neocolors are better. But look, you know, one of the things I want to stress out about, you know, paint pencils, you know, whether they be watercolor, whether they be pastel, or whether they be pencil like the Inktense. Any kind of pencil that you use, please be advised that you need to use very, very, very little water if you want the paint to go down nice and vibrant. If you really want to separate your Inktense pencils and your crayons and your pastels and all that good stuff, if you want to separate that from watercolor, you have to use less water. Okay? When it comes to putting down the pigment and showing the pigment for what it really is, you use very less water. Just enough water to dissolve the color, to soften the color. That's all you need. I mean, what I do is I take the brush out and I pat it down on a paper towel until it's damp, and then I go over, and this is what I get. I get these luscious, vibrant colors like this. Okay? Luscious, vibrant. Okay? Here is the same thing, similar to the same thing. I could have done better on the spider strings. I put a little bit too much water there. Gave it more of a watercolor effect. But here is the Neocolors. Look how more vibrant the color is. You can see automatically where it looks like the color is just sitting there, just like when you use oil pastels. I mean, this is it for me, man. I think I've made it to the end of my journey. I mean, this is it for me. You got oil pastels and wax pastels that you can smooth, okay, and mix and layer with a brush instead of your hands. And when it dries, what's it look like? It looks just like pastels. That does not look like watercolor to me. That looks like pastels. Okay? I'll show you exactly what I mean. Here's some more. Look at that. That is not watercolor, son. Look at that. That looks just like pastel. Okay? Look at that. Look how vibrant that is. Look at that. Totally beautiful. Look at that. Okay? As you can see, the Neocolors are a lot more, the pigment is a lot thicker and stronger, and the colors are a little bit more vibrant than the Inktense, in my opinion. But I still love them both. If you got yourself a set of 72 Inktense and you got yourself a set of 146 or whatever it is, that the Neocolor goes up to, then you got yourself every color you can possibly imagine. You don't need to mix nothing. You got it all. Okay? Here's another one I did showing how you can mix the pigment. Okay? Now I gotta admit, when it comes to pastels, going from using my finger or using cotton balls and a stump to using a brush, I really have to practice. But look how the color when it dries, you know. And look at this. That is definitely pastel right there. Look at the thickness in that. Okay. And it has like a texture to it too. It feels like almost like there's pastel there, like just like when you do oil pastels, you know, you can go back over the surface with your hand, but here nothing comes off on my hand because there's no smudge because it's water soluble. You see what I'm saying? So there's that. Here's another one. This is where I was testing the darks and that to the Inktense, and look at the rich darkness you can get with the Neocolors versus the Inktense. Look at the richness of the darkness. Okay, look at that. Wow, look at that. Okay, wow. Here's another one. Color mixing, look at that. Just like pastels. Does that look like pastels or what? And as I said before, you can go over it with the pastel when you get done. Like after you like, and they dry real fast, just like Inktense pencils. These crayons, these wax pastels, Neocolor 2s, they dry very fast, just like Inktense color pencils. If you sit them down together and get done at the same time, they'll dry exactly alike. Okay? Exactly alike. They dry very fast, and what's great about the wax pastels is you can go back over them after the painting is done. You can go back over them. Okay? You can go back over them. Alright? They're just wonderful. Look at that. So you can see it here where I went back over it. And not only can you go back over it, but you can leave it alone, or you can go over it with a brush. Okay? Absolutely gorgeous color, vibrancy. Wow. Okay? And here's a little something I drew. Okay? Little something I drew here. Just goofing off. Now, does that look like pastel work to you or what? That does not look like watercolor as much as it looks like pastel, right? Amen. So, what we have is two mediums here, which the first one I introduced you to is the Inktense pencils. I did that review a little bit ago, briefly, when I first got them. And again, I didn't really get into painting until I got into Inktense color pencils. But then I ran across water-soluble wax or oil pastels, and I had to check them out. And I'm so glad I did. Okay, I'm so glad I did. These are just absolutely wonderful. And I only have a set of 40 here, but as you can see, I have my black, my gray, and let me tell you something else about these compared to Inktense. Gray, like this gray right here. light gray. This is really gray, like silver. When you put it down on paper and wet it, it's like, like let's say you're going to draw a gun, a stainless steel gun or something. Okay, this is what you would use. It's very hard to get this color in Inktense. I tried to get this color in the Inktense. You have to like mix it, and you have this one, which is the one that's like really, really like perfect gray. That's the other thing about these Neocolors, is that the colors are like the colors that you really, 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 really need, and they have everything that the Inktense has, but they also have the more important aspect, the more important definition of those colors. Okay, here's my look. So here, this is a set of 40. I got all these pinks and purples. Okay, I got number of blues, number of yellows. I got 2 oranges, a red, 2 types of orange, a red. I got 3 types of brown. Probably about 6 different types of green. Black, 2 types of gray and white. You name it, it's all here. It's absolutely wonderful. I think I found my medium now. Coming up in about another week or so, I'm going to order the Cretacolor Aqua Sticks, and when I get those, I will do a review on them. But let's retrace one more time. Neocolor, water soluble, wax pastels, and they are pastels and they are water soluble. When I called Blick was like, yeah, we got a set. They didn't tell me they were wax, but they said they had them. And I grabbed them. And I'm glad that I didn't let the fact that they don't say wax on them, or say blue, or say oil on them. They say wax instead. I'm glad I didn't let that stop me from getting these, because these are just totally awesome. Okay? But when I went to Michael's, I says, do you have anything water soluble in a pastel? And they thought I was an idiot. They were like, there's no such thing. I says, yes, there are. I got a set at home. Okay? And I started naming other brands like Prima. I says, do you have anything for Prima or Portfolio? Because they tried to tell me, they tried to talk down to me like I was an idiot because they never heard of such things. I says, one lady was nice about it. She says, oh, you must be into art. That's why you know all the stuff. I says, yeah. Okay. But the others were like, they thought, they about to escort me off the property. They thought I was losing it. No, I know what I'm talking about. Water-soluble oil pastels. I have a set at home, and I watch this stuff on YouTube every day. Don't tell me. I know what I'm talking about. They thought I was losing my mind. They thought I was, they thought I escaped from the psych unit or something. But here we have it, okay? Neocolor 2. Make sure it's Neocolor 2. Neocolor 1 is not water soluble. Make sure it's Neocolor 2. Water soluble. Wax pastels. I think they have oil pastels that they dissolve too. I'm not sure for Karen Dash, but don't quote me. Don't quote me. But I can't wait to try out the Aqua Sticks. But again, water soluble. When they dry, they look like pastel. They still look like pastel when they dry. They're very, very... Matter of fact, the color is more vibrant than the Inktense pencils. And, more creamy. And the colors are more the colors that everybody uses. The purples, the yellows, the browns, the blacks, the whites, the blues. It's the colors that we all use. here's a set of 40 colors that we all use. Here's a set of 72 Inktense pencils where there's some of them that I just goof off with them. I really wouldn't use them for everything, but I can't wait to find out what 100 and some set has of these Neocolor 2s. But anyway, again, just totally awesome color, the way it goes down, and look at that, just totally awesome. Just totally awesome here how this stuff comes down, comes out. So I guess that's it. If I forgot anything, I guess I'll do a part 2. But for now, thanks for watching. I will talk to you again soon. Be looking for my review on the aqua sticks. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching.